we've missed you so.
No, you haven't. Admit it.
Wow, August 1st. That's pretty freaking early, man. I got less than a month.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I heard October last time.
Well, that was the speculation because it was just later this year is all they would say, and then all of a sudden,
It's not October. It's not August 1st.
No. Well, and it's
Croco Pupo.
Last day is the 31st
of what? July.
As of the 1st, they're turning it off.
Of course. That should be interesting. So I got to figure this out quick. I'm not. My problem is not the show. My problem is the phone calls. I got to figure that out all over again. But I figured it out once.
Well, hopefully that shouldn't really change as long as you find a similar enough tool.
Right. Welcome, everybody. We've got Daryl W4 on the show. And Shorty Nights is at a baseball game.
Hello.
We got Daryl with us, an old school patron of the show. Thank you, sir. And an old school host of this show for many years.
I was trying to figure out how long that was today. I want to say it was about 7.5 years.
How long you were on the show?
Yeah.
You were on the show for a while.
Yeah. I was the first co-host.
Good Lord. Yeah. Guys, if you go to our website,
I think I picked up like episode 3 or 4.
If you go to the about and then to the show timeline, you could literally see the timeline of me and Daryl painstakingly went through probably around a year ago, last August or September.
No, it was more than that.
No, it wasn't. It was
because it was before you relaunched the show.
Right, we launched the show in November, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
October, yeah. So probably around this time, we were going through the timeline, trying to pinpoint the exact dates, which we did, of when everybody started, when everybody ended. So if you go to that, guys, if you've never been there on our site, it's it's on our show in the about section, the timeline. It's pretty cool, actually. See how the show has evolved. So welcome everybody to the show. Shorty's out. We're still taking phone calls. And we're just bringing you in. It's going to be interesting. No screener. Just straight onto the show. It's going to be fun. So if anybody feels the need to call in today, cash your coffee. Got a lot to talk about. So I'm ready for the show. Daryl, you ready?
I am ready.
Chad, you ready to go?
Listo.
Did you say listo?
That means yes.
Okay. All right, let me push the little button.
Or that means ready, actually. Sorry.
Okay, let me push for the audio. Okay, audio is recording. Here we go. Let's check these levels here. Everything looks okay. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
You want to know how to find it. Seek it out when they hide it. You know it's in the bag when it's an easy grab. Come on, take a chance now. Geocache. And if you need help, we're right there in a flash. If you got a question, just call in and ask. Uncover the stash on the Geocaching Podcast. The Geocaching Podcast.
Welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday. It is 8:30, which means that it is once again time for the Geocaching Podcast. My name's Scott Burks. We got Shorty Nights actually out on assignment tonight, but please welcome to my virtual left, my co-host, Chaz427.
Howdy, y'all. I hope you all have your coffee ready.
I got my coffee, Chad, because tonight is episode 570, recorded live on July 30th, 2019, and it is July Cacher Coffee. Phone lines are open, guys. Even without Jesse, we're bringing you in cold without a screener. But the phone lines are open. If you feel the need to give us a call, 808-468-7924, 808-GOT-SWAG. Give us a call and then, you can pretend to be somebody else because we don't have a screener tonight. I'm bringing you in ice cold. Before we do that, before I bring in callers ice cold, before we start on this Cacher Coffee, Chad, we got to talk about Patreon.
Oh, yeah. Got a couple new ones, eh?
And you know what? But first, before we talk about Patreon, because we have a supporter on the show tonight. We have got Daryl W4, an old host of the show. Daryl, hello, sir. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well.
You, Daryl W4.
Excited to finally be back on.
Yes, I think last time you were here was the first show, wasn't it? Have you ever been on a guest on the show?
It was like once or twice, right around the relaunch. I think was the only time that I've been on.
Right. Well, Daryl, it's about time. It's about damn time you've been on this show. So, welcome to the show for this Cacher Coffee. Yeah, once again, Jesse, our middle son had a baseball game tonight. There's a reschedule from a rain out, and so it's a 7:45 game Chicago time. So she's sitting at the ballpark right now. But again, we are taking phone calls. You're just coming in cold. I don't know who. All I'm going to see is an area code and a number. So I'm not going to have any idea who it is if anybody calls tonight. But I'm going to bring you in anyway. Let's talk Patreon. Daryl, you know Patreon. You know how important it is and what it takes to make a podcast work. And we could really use your guys' help. We have over 50 subscribers, and we have 2 new subscribers tonight, Chad. 2 new ones. We've got Jambalaya, which is a fantastic caching name, out of Punta Gorda, Florida, Chad. Did you ever hear
Punta Gorda.
Did you ever hear of it? I never heard of it.
No.
I looked it up. You know where it is?
Someplace with a fat dog.
It is on the nice. It is on the west side, west corner of Florida, kind of near the top, kind of near the Panhandle, a little below it, is where Punta Gorda, Florida is.
Isn't that what Punta Gorda means? Fat dog?
Is that what that means?
Or fat female dog specifically?
Punta Gorda, isn't Gorda fat?
Gorda's fat.
What's Punta? Punta's not.
I believe that's dog.
No, Perro is a dog.
Perro. What am I thinking?
Perro. Yes, a little Spanish for you. That's high school Spanish right there. Boom.
Yeah, I haven't had Spanish in a long time.
Dude, 30 years this year. I graduated high school. And GSM times 2 from Ojai, California, Chad. You ever been to Ojai, pal?
I haven't been to, well, actually, I've driven by Ojai.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, going down the 101 from LA up to Santa Barbara. So it goes by there.
I looked at where that was as well. I've never heard of it. That's right by Santa Barbara. It's about 30 miles away from Santa Barbara. Beautiful. I saw pictures again. Absolutely amazing views there. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area. So I had to look this up. Punta Gorda is a fat tip.
A fat tip? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Nice, Chad.
Hey now.
All right. So we appreciate you guys. Hey, anybody else? Anything you can do? Give us some cash starting as low as $3 a tiers. Anything you can. Patreon.com/the Geocaching Podcast.
All right. Tonight's show is brought to you by Cachly. Cachly is an advanced geocaching app for iOS. It features powerful online and offline features, including filtered searches, offline maps, and offline saving of caches. Cachly has hundreds of advanced features that will make your geocaching experience just that much better. Get more information at Cachly.com. That's CACHLY.com.
Tonight, we're also sponsored by Logwork. Logwork are the creators of the fantastic logbook made with genuine Write-in-the-Rain paper. The logbook is designed for the micro-containers of the present and future, geared towards hiders who would rather go caching than do cache maintenance. Find them at logwork.com. That's LOGWERK.com.
It's also brought to you by FTF Geocacher Magazine. FTF Geocacher is the magazine for geocachers written by geocachers. With 6 issues a year, FTF offers practical advice, hints and tips, cacher bios and milestones, geocaching events, trail tales, and all things geo-related. Find them at ftfgeocacher.com. That's ftfgeocacher.com.
And by the Max Suds Body Company. Max Suds Body Company makes handmade bath and body products from all natural oils and butters. Items such as Poison Be Gone soap, itch spray, and 2 scent choices of bug spray. All great for the outdoor enthusiasts like geocachers. At Max Suds Body, we have you covered from head to toe. Find them at maxsudsbody.com. That's MACSUDSBODY.com.
And finally, by Practical Geocaching. Practical Geocaching sells utility items for geocaching. Our items are made in the USA, and we always provide free shipping. Find them at www.practicalgeocaching.com. That's www.practical geocaching.com.
And as always, you can find the links to all our sponsors in our show notes. You know, Chad, every week I always try to remember to take that www out of there, and I always forget. And I can't believe you actually read it.
Yeah, it doesn't need it.
No, I know, but you read it anyway.
Yeah, it's there. Well, I started reading FTF.
So we got Daryl W4 on the show tonight. Daryl, hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Like we said before, it's good to have you on the show. And Daryl is the one here, guys. I think we briefly talked about it last week, but let's start the show with this, that Hangouts on Air is going away. And Daryl is actually one that alerted me to it. I woke up one morning last week to a text from Daryl saying...
Well, I think it was more than a week ago.
More than a week ago.
Yeah, because it was about a week ago, I think, that we got the invite from Gary.
Oh, that was this week.
To StreamYard.
That was earlier this week.
No, that was
it was 2
over a
weeks
week
ago.
ago.
2 weeks ago when we first started talking about it on this show.
Really? All right. So,
Yeah.
so 3 weeks ago, you got me an email. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So it was not long ago that they really made the announcement that it was going away. They actually kind of quietly announced it was going away in April.
Yeah.
But they didn't start really telling people until, we'll say, mid-June.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, August 1st, and they're being very loud about it now.
They are very loud about it right now.
So get off our channel.
YouTube is killing Hangouts on Air.
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out. Everybody's scrambling. All the shows are scrambling to try and figure out what to do, including us. But I'm still in the middle of baseball season, as you can see. Actually, today Shane, my youngest, struck out 6 players in a row to win the game to make it in the semifinals to get us to the championship game on Saturday. So
awesome!
Come Saturday, championship game. I haven't coached a championship game in like 6 years, so it's going to be interesting. It's been a while since I've been to the big show, so to speak, in Little League land. So it's going to be interesting. It's been a while, so looking forward to that. And then I should be done. Then I only have travel, and that's almost done as well. So baseball season's just about over. But I got to get on this StreamYard, which is Geocache Talk is currently using that, and they're sounding pretty good. So they sounded a lot better this week than it did last week. So I think they figured out their technical stuff. So
yeah, it's going to be a learning curve. We threatened on Geo Gearheads that whatever we do, we're probably going to throw the beta tag on again. Yeah, because for the first year we had that beta tag. We at Geo Gearheads, we grew up with Hangouts on Air. We started the show like 4 or 5 months before they actually released Hangouts on Air, but they had announced it was coming, so we based the whole show around it.
Wow, look at you.
And then now it's like it's 7.5 or so years later, and they're pulling the plug on it.
I know. So
like all good Google products, they must pull the plug.
Google drives me crazy.
Oh boy.
So yeah, we're gonna figure it out. Hopefully, and you should be able to stream directly from YouTube via this StreamYard, what we're planning on trying out. So we're gonna see what we can do here. We're gonna try and figure it out and keep the calls coming in and keep the show going live, which is what we want to do. So we'll figure it out, guys. So moving along into the show, we've got some emails, Chad and Daryl. We actually have emails here, so let's.
I got mail! Yay! I got mail! Yay!
So Chad, do you remember last week when I talked about that shopping center parking lot graveyard?
Yeah, I was just checking out the.
I knew somebody would get it to me. So I had 2 people. I had a voicemail from Indiana Daryl who called me about it. Unfortunately, his cell phone totally stunk, and so it was like that's literally what it sounded like.
It's kind of like my internet service sometimes.
Kind of like your internet service, exactly. And so, but I heard he did the right. He got the right thing. So Indiana Daryl, I'm so sorry. I wanted to play it, but it would have been useless to play it. But we did get it. But I also got an email from Jim Stark, and he says the cemetery in the middle of the shopping center parking lot is in Louisville, Kentucky, is where it was. Here's the GC for it, guys. You got to look at this, guys. That's really freaking cool. Look at the pictures of this. GC C640. GC C640. Even though it's spelled incorrectly or differently, it should be easy. It should have been easy for me to remember. The cache is called Burke's Rest Area. It's called Burke's Rest Area, and I couldn't remember the name of it. How about that? So he says when he went there in 2017, the gate was chained and locked up, so he couldn't go inside. Oh, because you have to go inside to actually figure out the virtual. So it's a pretty cool thing, guys. So thank you, Jim Stark. Thank you for Indiana Daryl for sending me that information. I knew somebody would. You guys are awesome. So I knew you guys would do that for me. Moving along, I got an email here from Firefighter Skippy. He says, hi, Scott, Shorty, and Chaz. During last week's show on road tripping, we had last week, I was on a road trip with 7 other caching buddies. We started in Omaha, Nebraska, and traveled through South and North Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa, back to Omaha in over 10 days. Who gets 10 days vacation? Chad, do you get 10 days like in a row?
That seems very European to me.
That's very right.
So when I get my sabbatical, I'll have
you go on a sabbatical?
Yeah, every four if we do it on 4 years, then we get 4 weeks sabbatical. If we do it 7 years, we get 8 weeks sabbatical.
What? Daryl,
It's weird. So.
I get nothing.
Am I doing this wrong? What am I doing wrong here?
Oh, we're definitely all doing it wrong. This is like,
well, yeah, we're not in Europe where like our buddy Mark goes away for a month, for Christ's sake. He's
yeah,
like, I get like 3 months vacation. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this wrong. Like,
yeah. Well, from what I understand, though, they work many longer hours than we tend to in the U.S. But I've been putting in those hours anyway. So where's mine?
And you're getting crap, dude. You're getting screwed.
I get 2 weeks. That's it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
oh, that sucks.
Sabbatical. What the hell are you talking about? Anyway.
Well, and come on, we got to spend a week at like Geo Woodstock and everything. So, you know, we don't really get vacation.
Firefighter Skippy has 10 days to just bleh and just go on a road trip for 10 days. And his buddies as well.
Yeah.
Must be nice. We're doing it wrong. We covered over 4,000 miles.
Wow.
Over mostly back/dirt roads through acres and acres of cornfields, finding by his count, ready for this, guys? Here we go. 9 earth caches, 15 virtuals, 16 multis, 20 letterboxes, 169 where he goes, 609 traditionals, and good Lord, 2,500 puzzles, of which 389 were challenges, and I qualified for 360 of them.
Wow.
That in one breath.
That is a crap load of puzzles.
For a total of 3,338 caches total, plus or minus. He still needs to check a few others. Some of the geo arts he did: Nebraska Star, Nebraska Outline, Boys Drool, Girls Rule, Fizzy Where I Go, Happy Trails, The Hand, Mr. Toot, I know Mr. Toot, The Dirt, Ribbon Trail, Iowa Star, Sodak Bird, the GCF Trail, a good number of the BLT. As usual, we had a lot of laughs and good-natured ribbing along the way. Saw some interesting sights, and did I mention acres and acres and acres of corn? So he's apologizing for missing last week's show, but he was a little busy. Firefighter Skippy. I hope he's in the chat room right now. He should be. Usually, I was wondering where he was last week. That's
Iowa and Nebraska doesn't have any corn. What are you talking about?
Iowa has plenty of it. So does Illinois. So does.
No, I was being sarcastic. I grew up in Indiana, dude. I know the Midwest. There's corn everywhere in the Midwest.
Oh, you're telling me, dude? I live in the Midwest. So was Daryl kind of in the Midwest? Yeah, I guess.
Well, here we have more soybeans than corn. Really,
Daryl's kind of like he's up there in the.
Yeah. Well, we used to have a ton of corn, and we still have all the corn mazes and everything, but it seems like slowly a lot of the stuff's turning over to soybeans.
Really?
Yeah.
Here, Illinois, it's still corn. So a social media note here from Jesse. We got a response. Hey, remember the Fjord? What was it? What were you calling it? Fjord. Okay, Chad. We got a response from Mr. and Mrs. Chose in 1978. They said, "Greetings from New Zealand. Thanks for sharing our story. The air quote Ford crossing, Chad, not Fjord.
Okay.
Talked about was a shallow river crossing that you can generally drive across. In this case, we got stuck. We got 3/quarters of the way across and had to be towed out backwards. Yes, we also have Ford vehicles and fjords, which are glacier. I can't say the word. Glacier caved valleys open to the sea, i.e., Milford and Doubtful Sound.
I think that should be carved, not caved.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Caved. Okay, glacial caved.
Carved.
Glacial carved valleys open up to the sea. Okay. That's what a fjord is. So that's not what you're doing. So you were wrong.
So but they meant a ford, a fording, and I incorrectly mixed, and I have a habit of doing this, 2 words that are very similar, ford and fjord, and assume that they were directly related, and they're not. So
right.
A river fording is just, you're crossing the river at a shallow point. And it's also the name of that shallow point is a ford. While they're correct, a fjord is the glacial carving out. Norwegians, the Norwegians have a lot of them because they got I had a lot of glaciers and stuff, and they carved a lot of that stuff. I just love
the word fjord. And I want to go fjording just because I love the word.
It's a great word, but yes, I was incorrect.
And of course, when we were at Epcot, we have to stop by the fjording shop.
Yes, you had to fjord a lot.
Yes, in part just so we could say fjord.
Loving listening to the podcast. Look forward to many more. Thank you, Penny and Bruce.
And I woke up on a ship in a fjord and to find that I was 300 feet away from an Earth cache once.
And you didn't claim it.
You didn't get it?
Oh, I got it. I got the thing. Now I've got to go look to see what the name of the fjord was.
Hey, Chad. Somebody in the chat room wants to know what do you do on your sabbaticals?
Take a long ass break.
Well, no, yeah, you get a month. What do you do?
Well, actually, I just started work. I started working for Intel almost 4 years ago, so I haven't actually had my first sabbatical.
So Intel gives you sabbaticals. They give you
Intel does.
Every 4 years you get a month.
Every 4 years you get 4 weeks, or if you wait for 7 years, you get 8 weeks. So you get a little bit more if you're doing it on the 7-year cycle.
I've never worked for a company for that long in my life. Aside from working for myself for 12 years, I've never worked for a company that long.
When I was working for Texas Instruments, we got more vacation time and no sabbatical. So it kind of gives it a little bit of a wash.
All right, Daryl, that's what we're doing wrong, Daryl. We're not working for big ass companies.
Yeah, see, and I've worked for the same company for like 22 years, essentially.
Yeah, see, no one does that.
But at least now it's a bigger company.
Yeah, and you still get bupkis for 22 years.
Hey, no, I actually get to take vacations.
Well, everybody gets vacations, Daryl.
Yeah, but we didn't get to take them before. Now I get to take them too.
Oh, you actually get you just don't get the hours, you get the days, and you get to actually use them. Is what you're saying,
right? And we're encouraged to actually take vacations.
Encouraged? Wow, really?
Not don't take don't be away that long.
Wow, look at you.
So that fjord is known as the Tracy Arm Fjord in Alaska.
You're still going with the fjords.
Sorry, I had to get that in there.
All right.
Hey, any chance to say fjord?
Of course. Hey, message from Sim Rebel, our good friend Sim Rebel here. He says, it was mentioned on this last week's show about opencaching.us. Site was down. Was that last week or 2 weeks ago, Chad? Do you remember?
I think it was last week.
Was it? When we were talking, you and Jesse were talking about opencaching.us, and the site was down, actually. He says they were in the process of moving to a new server when the old server crapped out. They are having problems with the new server, not displaying some of the cache types, so they haven't brought it online yet. It's been suggested that they bring it online and deal with it problems as they come up. So I guess then he included an email from Open Caching saying, yeah, we're having issues with our servers. So that's why they weren't up, Chad. Apparently they're still in business.
They're still alive. Good.
They're still alive. They're still chugging along, but yeah, they apparently having issues with the new site. But yeah, so let's Daryl, let's move into the show here and let's talk about Daryl. I was gonna make all my notes here about what's coming up next year, but then I know Daryl just talked about this on his show. So Daryl,
yeah, we've been talking about it. I think
recap us
almost every week.
Yeah, why don't you recap us on what's coming up next year?
Well, basically for the 2010 or 2020 for the 20th anniversary, the big news, of course, is that we have the return of what was the Lost and Found event icons coming back as the celebration icons. So they've rebranded the icons. It's now an every 10-year event icon. There's going to be the two, one for the actual Groundspeak celebration, which I think is called the Geocaching celebration now.
Mm.
And then there's going to be the community celebrations. So just like we had before with the two different ones, and I think both of you guys were like just after that, correct? You didn't get the Lost and Founds?
No, I got the Lost and Found.
You did? Okay.
I was a week after the 1010 event. So I think my start date is 10/17, and so I missed the 1010 event by a week.
I got the 1010. Yeah, I got the Lost and Found.
So yeah, the Lost and Found, for anyone who wasn't playing or doesn't remember, was back in 2010 they did the first of the block parties basically, but before that, on the actual anniversary of the selective availability being turned off, that whole weekend they did community events. So I think I have like 9 of those community events.
2. Yes,
but that was the Lost and Found.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing at the time was they were trying to kind of push let's start documenting what was going on so that it's not lost, hence the lost and found. But now, probably most of the people who were around then really aren't caching as much. And so many of the, they make such a small percentage of the caching population that they've totally lost that meaning. So they didn't like that meaning, and they're just going to call it the description, and they're just going to call it the celebration events, and it's going to be once every 10 years. They're going to bring it back. So at 2030, we're going to see it again, and 2040 and 2050.
Oh, good.
So are they going to keep the lost and found icons as they are and add a new icon with the celebration, or is it going to replace it?
It is replacing it.
Really?
They're resurrecting.
Really?
So those of us with the lost and found, it's been renamed, and we're going to have the celebration icons. And then anyone... I'm sorry?
Has it already been renamed?
I believe it has, because the actual cache page for the 2020 is there.
Okay, so yeah, I'm looking at my cache types that I have found, and the three that I haven't found are community celebration event, which was the 1010 before.
Well, no, that was actually May, I believe it was, for the selective availability shutdown, the big blue switch day.
No, this one's got the icon with the 10 on it, so that has to be the 1010.
No, that was 10 years.
Right.
The 1010 didn't have its own icon.
Oh, yeah, look at that. It's a community celebration event. It doesn't say lost and found anymore.
Yeah.
It has it's a 10.
Okay, lost and found. Okay. So yeah, they changed that name. So there's three icons I don't have: the community celebration event, the geocaching headquarters celebration, and the locationless / reverse cache.
Right. Yeah, I don't have those either.
I also don't have the block party.
Neither do I.
Because I thought I had gone to a block party. The original lost and found was a different icon.
Okay.
Oh, that stinks.
Well, the good news is, supposedly, according to the Inside HQ podcast, they are bringing those back as well, and they're going to do the block parties on the 5 years.
Awesome.
So every 5 years, we're going to have some type of major celebration from geocaching.com. 10s, it's going to be the big lost and found kind of celebrations, and then the 5s, it's going to be those block parties again.
Okay, Groundspeak. I need that locationless cache. Let's bring those back. That way I can fill out all the icons.
You know what that is now? Don't they say it's a weird?
Yeah, that I don't see coming back anytime.
No.
So I that's going to be my one icon or cache type that I will not have found.
Yeah. And I just missed it too. I missed it by like a year, I think. Like right before I started, they got rid of it.
So in short, we've got the official celebration coming up on the Saturday. Does anyone have those dates handy? I do not in the notes. It's August 10th or something like that, I believe.
I have a link in the show notes. I just didn't click on it.
You did? I didn't see that.
Here's a link in the show notes.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. 1 second.
Right. Well, while you're doing that,
August 15th.
August
Saturday, August 15th, and I assume that the going ape is going to be Sunday, August 16th.
Correct. And then the following
Saturday, August 22nd, will be
the first Canadian Geo Woodstock. So, you know that there's going to be everyone and their brothers out there. Every geocacher is going to be doing their best to be out there for that full week.
Yeah, I've already got plans made. So
I already put in for the time off and was already approved, which is especially funny.
Man. I got kids. I can't just take a week off.
And this is the problem: is that so many of the teachers have to be back for mandatory training, either both weekends or that second weekend.
Right.
So they can't do it.
I put in for spousal time off.
Yeah.
Well, and so many people I've talked with are going with their snuggle muggles because there's so much to do in Seattle that they just want to go and do anyway.
Right.
My wife wants to come, and I told her, it's like, if you do, I'm going to be unavailable the entire time. So it's like, it's fine, but expect that I will not be with you the entire time. We'll sleep in the same room, but beyond that, so set the expectations right.
So my theory is we're going to have the unique icon for the celebration events itself. We're going to have probably a giga for the ape event, just because it's the next day. How can you not?
Yeah, it's going to be giga.
And I'm kind of hoping that they don't take Geo Woodstock giga, but I fully expect it will be.
But how many people, like, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Like, when I go find the ape cache, I don't want to be there with 1,000 people. You know?
Well, that's one of the nice things about the way they handle those events. It is going to be a lot of people, but they have all of that other stuff, and it's not like a show up right at 9 and everyone goes out there kind of thing. It's, you know, it's more like an open house. They're there with the support. They're there with all of the other fun stuff around it. So you just, hang out, and then it's probably a constant stream next year anyway. But, it's that stream of people going back and forth, and you go and connect with other cachers. And this time we'll be able to go through the tunnel.
Right.
When I was there in 2010, we couldn't go through the tunnel, which is what prompted it.
Yes.
They didn't have the parking anywhere on that side to support anywhere near enough people. So the event was really just about getting the bus service running,
right,
so that people could get to the parking area and make the hike to the cache without too many problems.
And one thing I would suggest, if you haven't done it before, go a couple hours beforehand when the tunnel is practically empty, because it's a different experience going through that tunnel with nobody around and no flashlights around than when you're going through with hundreds or even thousands of people all with flashlights. It's definitely a different experience. The last two times we went through, we were pretty much the only people in the tunnel.
I really want to do that by bike.
And that's what I would prefer. I'd rather like me and Jesse and and Cody or somebody going through.
Well, and really the way to probably do that is part of the week other than the actual event.
Oh, you go in like October. You go.
Sure. Yeah, but October is not such nice weather for it. And that's the whole point of pushing it this late in the year. In that part of the country, it doesn't generally get to be comfortable weather until about now.
Right.
So they don't want to do it in the typical holiday weekends.
Right. Sure.
But last time in 2010, it was right around the 4th of July weekend. They actually used the 4th of July to make their 3-day weekend so that they could do the Geo Woodstock on Saturday, and on Sunday they had the geocaching block party, the original.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Anybody have any comments on this? Give us a call, 808-468-7924, 808-GOT-SWAG. We're talking about next year and everything that's going on. And Gerald, you going to make it up to Canada too? Are you going to go for that trip as well?
I've got it all blocked out. It's just a matter of making it happen. And I've got to get with the guys from Caching in the Northwest. We're going to try to get a takeover show happening so that they can talk about, how to best do that. This is not as easy as you might expect it to be, given you really only have the 5 days in between if you're going to block out for just those events. Because you've got to do the triad. You have to go to the original stash.
Of course, yes.
Who knows what they're going to do with the HQ. Last time they said, no, HQ, we're just going to bring the cache out, and you get to find the cache at the event, which makes sense. That's way too many people to be tromping through their office building.
Of course, yes.
Right. But if you go earlier in the week, Wednesday, Thursday kind of thing, then you can do it, but they're not going to give you a tour because there's still too many people going through there.
At least I don't think they've announced what they're going to do. Last time they just blocked out the week before and after.
Okay.
In part because they had staff that was just too busy with the block party.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
yeah,
we don't know
it's
what
gotten
they're going to do.
progressively busier as the years went by with the
Yeah.
block party. So I want, from my
There's
experience,
reasons why I'd rather go off season to get the triad and get
Absolutely. Yeah, this is not the time to get the triad, but for most people who go, this is when they're going to do the triad.
Yeah, that's definitely something good comment. I didn't think about it because I did that years ago, and everybody that I'm going with has already done that, so it's not going to be part of our plans.
And the wife hasn't done it, so I have to go and do it all over again.
My wife doesn't care about it, so
Right.
Oh, mine does.
And my wife's not a Doctor Who fan either. So, but doing Doctor Who in down there in Portland is while you're getting the original stash plaque. That's a must do.
Right. But it sounds really like what people should be doing is spending a couple of days in the Seattle area and then shifting up to British Columbia, because there's a ton of stuff to do up there. It really is not so easy to do one hotel for the whole thing, because it's still going to be like a 3-hour drive from Seattle to Geo Woodstock.
And you might want to even do a 1-day hotel in Portland.
Yeah. So it's not going to be the easiest trip to plan, and everyone's going to probably be doing the same type of thing.
Sounds like an expensive trip to plan as well.
It is going to be expensive, and you have to have a rental car if you don't have your own car. It's not the kind of thing that you can Uber.
Right.
So yeah, plan on saving up as much cash as you can.
Yeah.
It's going to be expensive all the way around.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you, Daryl.
You're welcome. And I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, it's like doing fine. If we go, I'm looking way forward to it. It's so up in the air right now with Jessie. So she told me I can't go without her. I'd be in big old trouble. So
yeah, I heard something about she's going to change the locks on you.
I don't know if that's worth it or not, but yeah, she told me I can't go without her. So we'll see if she changes her mind on that. Chad.
Yes, sir.
Way long time ago, you put in notes of things you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to about. Was it the Giga you went to?
Yeah, the couple items that were still left on there: the AR experience with Metaverse and the Adventure Labs.
All right, let's talk about those.
So one of the things that I had comment more about the Metaverse app than the AR experience in general is that it needs to be a little bit more user friendly. You need to have a way to back up. So with that one, since when you have the app open, you're trying to in this particular case find the words that are hidden in the image that you're holding your phone around looking for the image in the AR mode, and then you got to enter it in there. Well, there's no way to back up if you mess something up in there. So you didn't get the words right. It doesn't keep any of the information in there. And then also when it goes to the option to go to the next thing, it has a little greater than sign for going to next, and then another button that says view image. My mind immediately goes to click view image. Well, when you do that, the view image goes into a fisheye view of the image, and that you can't see crap on. You're not in the AR mode, and which is it's great that they have that there for people whose phones are freaking out with the AR mode on there, but it's makes the experience bad for someone who doesn't have the AR, and you don't have a way to back out. Instead, you got to close the program, restart the program, and when in this case, for the AR experience that they had there, you had to go through 6 images. Each image has 6 code words in there, and very hard to find. So that was it was a bit tedious, to say the least. It took us about an hour to actually get through the AR experience because of that.
Well, when I was in West Bend last year, they had one of those. I'd have to consult to Jesse about this, but I'm pretty positive they use the same thing. It was they had images. We were in a parking lot, and you had to you were searching for ghosts, and once you hit one, then you had to, there was a question that you had to answer. And again, it was a horrible UI. User interface was absolutely horrible on it. But I didn't think the user experience was horrible, as bad as the UI. But what was annoying is that if you got an answer wrong, you had to quit out and start all over again.
Right. And it was probably use a metaverse again. This one, because I had so many, you had to put them in alphabetical order as well, but so many words that you had to find, and then within so many images, it just made, and then if you mess up once during that entire process,
start over again.
You got to start over again. So they needed a way to be able to back up. Okay, I screwed up. Let me hit the back button. But other than that, it has the potential of a great experience. But right now with the metaverse tool, they need to improve that a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't find it horrible. I generally enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. I mean, maybe if I did 100 of them, the coolness factor would kind of wear off a little bit, But it was, whenever you do something for the first time in geocaching, it's always exciting because I don't see too many firsts anymore, and coming in 11 years into the game.
Well, it's kind of like where I goes in the beginning, where
exactly, yes,
very painful experiences.
It was a brutal experience.
But nowadays they're at least for me, it's been a few years since I've had one crash on me.
Yeah, we used to play Where I Go Survivor, where all of us would open the Where I Go app, and then they would slowly crash along the way, and whoever actually got the cash was the winner.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, Daryl, do you have any experience with the metaverse at all?
Only with the AR caches, and one from Land Monkey that he did as a test cartridge or tutorial cartridge on caching in the Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
So not a whole lot. And my experience is simply, it was way too resource intensive. And especially on a hot summer day, which was one of them that I did, it was terrible because if you played for more than about 2 or 3 minutes, the phone would start dimming the screen to control the heat.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And your hands getting hot.
Yeah. Yeah. And granted, it was a terrible day for it because it was 98% humidity and 90 degrees, or I think it was actually 92 degrees at 8:30 in the morning when we tried it.
Uh-huh.
So it was one of those kind of days.
Right.
But it was awful because we kept having to close out, restart it, and when it started dimming the screen like that, going through the overheats, it started glitching too.
Oh no.
So I think a lot of the problem is simply they need more hardware than what most people have.
Well, it just seemed like personally, it seemed like it was a beta. It was, it acted very much like a beta version of it.
Well, I think it still very much is in beta, but it's not labeled as such.
So we didn't have any problems with our phones. Almost everyone in our group had iPhones. I had a Galaxy S8, and Gary had a what's the one by Google's
Pixel.
The Pixel.
Is that the latest one?
Yeah, the Pixels are the new ones. There's the XL and the 4.
Yeah,
no,
okay.
I don't remember the models. Sorry.
So he had one of the Pixels then. And so none of us had any problems with overheating personally. So, but you just had the tediousness. But I guess, you got an older phone or one with a not as much processing power or not as much memory, you can start running into issues.
Right. So, and they've, I'm sure, cleaned up the code a lot since then too. But it's been trying to do some of those AR caches. It's not a problem when I've done them in the fall.
But keep working on it. Keep working on it.
Absolutely.
And anything that adds to the game, I'm all for. Give it its
Well, I still really want to try one that uses the HP Reveal. Is that the name of it? But the other one that they had tried is actually supposed to be a better experience for doing more of the guided tour kind of stuff.
I've never done a guided tour AR cache.
No, I haven't either. And it's it's supposed to be totally different, harder to build for, but a better experience in some ways and worse in others. So you really have to pick the appropriate tool if you're limiting yourself to those two, which geocaching.com had done, and figure out which one's the best for whatever you're trying to build. But most people started off with Metaverse because it is quicker and easier. It's a really nice and easy builder.
Yeah, I've never used it myself personally, but no, I didn't hate it. You know, I thought it was kind of cool. I enjoyed it. I did.
Well, and you should try building one sometime.
Yeah.
Just for fun, not not for a cache anymore, but
I have children, so it's my free time is ridiculously limited.
Sure, but you can put together one in like less than 10 minutes. It's that quick. So do one for like the kid's birthday or something, you know.
Here, you must use this.
Yes,
Or else you're not getting your presents.
You know how you always used to do the hide the clues around the house for Valentine's Day kind of things? Just do it with an AR experience.
There you go. There you go. Look at you. You sexy beast. Look at you. So romantic that man is.
Oh, I did that with what were they called? The challenges.
Oh God, not those bad
So
challenges.
when or not
geocaching challenge?
No, it wasn't the challenges. It was something else. Lab. When they letting us do
the iHeart geocaching lab cache.
Yeah, and I made my wife do that to get her Valentine's Day present. It was not a good experience.
I would say you're probably lucky that you're still married at that point.
Yeah, I was like,
that was painful.
It was painful. So,
Chad, what about Adventure Labs?
Adventure Labs. So they got a lot of things right. They got some things wrong.
Okay.
In my opinion.
In your
the first thing that they got wrong, they didn't have a GPX file. So there is no good way to plan for doing multiple adventure labs in the same area at the same time. So we had 4 adventure labs going on, and you only have one open with all the points showing on the screen at the same time, at one time. But if you had a GPX file, you can kind of hop to in an order and kind of make some amount of sense of it. We wound up going back to the same location on a couple of them more than one time. So 1, 2, 3 times, and because we were working on the different adventures. And if we had known that there were other adventures labs caches at the same spot, we would have been able to, okay, let's open this adventure lab, let's open that adventure lab, and then do the particular adventure labs. That doesn't make too much sense right now.
One thing to say about that, though, real quick, as I understand it, that's largely the author who sets that. I mean, you're not going to get the GPX file, but it's a matter of, do they want to lock the locations so that they're only visible in order so you have a linear experience, or do they want to make them available just like the traditional labs?
So these weren't done in any particular order. So none of these were done in any particular order. When you click on one, you can actually pull up the coordinates, and you can even tell. And one thing, this is one of the things that they did right. You can even tell it to navigate to the location.
Sure. Yeah.
That was a great thing to do. But when you're power cacher, you want all of them down there so that you can kind of pick your own route, and because each of these adventures had 10 labs within them, so you got 40 different points that you're going to, and another thing, it tells you if you're quote unquote close to a lab, but it uses a centroid of all the lab. I assume it uses a centroid of all the lab caches on there, because I could be standing right next to one. It's still telling me you're 1.2 miles away from this set of labs. And so that, instead of telling you that you're standing right next to one, so that you have to open it up, and then if you open it up, you see on the map, oh, I'm standing right next to one, or I'm 300 feet away from one.
Mm.
And I'd say for the newbie cacher, this is great. For the experienced cacher who's trying to do all the sets of lab caches, adventure labs that are there, just provide us a friggin' GPX file. It's like we will do it. And we'll go to the locations. Like, okay, it's not within this venture lab set. It's with this one. It's with it's this one right here. Let's do it and then move on. Oh, another thing that they had is that distance to the lab seemed to be arbitrarily set. So I think that kind of alludes to what Daryl was saying, that whoever creates them sets them. So some of them were 100 feet when the GPS was bouncing around tall buildings downtown. So you could be right on the spot where you need to be, but because you're downtown and you're getting multipathing of the satellite signals, it says you're 250 feet away.
Right.
And so it made it a pain in the butt. While the ones that were set to 400 feet were in areas with clear signal to the sky. It was like, the downtown area, the ones people you need to kind of make sure that you set those with a little bit more range.
Yeah. Daryl, have you done one yet?
I've only done one, and it was a linear.
Yeah, because I don't think the closest one to me, I think, is Chicago, I think.
I'm not a fan of the linear experience as I did it. It didn't have a story that in any way should have been linear. It was just walking you around these statues. Now, I enjoyed the lab, the adventure lab, but I think it would have been better to not be a linear experience so that I could have started at any one and hit them out of order. But that's not the way it was set up.
Right.
So these were set up, the ones in Dallas were set up kind of like traditional lab caches, just with a new, you're using an app instead of the website to do the logging, and it helps reduce some false logging, although I'm sure people were using GPS spoofing software on their phones to kind of do it anyways.
Yeah, there are tools to avoid those spoofers.
Yeah, I don't know,
but I don't know that they're doing that yet.
Right, I don't know if they're doing that. They should do that. I know games like Pokemon Go, you cannot use. It will not let
Munzie and
right. Yeah, will not let you use spoofers.
Right.
Yeah. See, I'm seeing one right now. I've got 24 miles away and 25 miles away. Those are my two closest.
That's not bad. That's about what mine was.
And if you have a single set of adventure labs, it's not you don't need a GPX. That's not a bad thing. But when you're going to megas and gigas that usually have 2, 3, 4 sets of them,
yeah, then it gets
you need the GPX files.
Right.
Well, and I'm thinking that there's no reason that a host couldn't provide that to you as well. They'd have to create it themselves.
Right.
But chances are they already have all that information. They just have to create the GPX file and distribute it.
And host, if you need someone to create that for you and you want to provide the coordinates, I'm more than happy to do it for you.
Oh, what a nice guy. Look at him.
It doesn't take that long to do it.
No.
So, Daryl.
Yes.
Tell me about the State Park Centennial Geo Tour.
Yeah, this is really cool. We had one of the guys who was responsible for bringing this out talk to us twice on the show about it. One whole show dedicated to it. But Merlin 1394.
Talking about Geo Gearheads. The show.
Yes, sorry.
Trying to give you a plug here.
Dude. Yeah, well, thank you. But it's 100 geocaches that they've divided up into 4 different sections. And if you complete, I think it's 20 of the caches out of any one of those 4 sections, you can get the path tag for that region. And you complete all 4 and you get the geo coin itself.
Oh.
But it's in the state parks, intended to show off the state parks. And it's just this last weekend that we really started to try for it. It's an insane amount of driving because Michigan is not a small state, and you have to go through the Straits of Mackinac to get up into the UP or go around. Yeah. And there are caches up in the UP.
Of course there are. Why wouldn't there be?
Right. Well, and the whole point is get you out to all of these state parks.
So you went up to the Uper?
No. All of mine so far have been local. I have a total of, I think, 6 that I found so far.
Okay.
But it's nice because they gave us a GPA or a PDF file that's got the form in it. So you can actually record your keywords right in there without doing a whole lot of headaches.
Is it a ton of walking too?
It can be. Some of them are, there's a variety of caches as well. One of them was what they called a gadget cache, but it really was just a lockbox with a cool lock on it. So that was kind of like meh. We were expecting a lot worse or a lot more interesting of a cache.
Or gadget cache, yeah.
Yeah, because you say it's a gadget cache, you expect something cooler. But no, it was a good cache, but I wouldn't call it a gadget.
Yeah, but that's nice that they actually get you into the woods and all that.
Well, this one was right off the parking lot.
They shouldn't be parking grabs. I mean, they should be getting you in,
No, I don't think any of them are parking grabs. It all takes some work. Mm-hmm. This one was probably the easiest of them, and it was, you needed to figure out the combination. It's a puzzle cache type. There's a multi-cache that we had to bail on because the signs for stage 1 were not visible.
Oh, no, I hate that.
Yeah. And it's a 7-stage multi.
Oh, Lord.
So it was like, if we're having problems with this, we're just going to have to bail and go on to the next one.
Or the all virtual stages, hopefully?
No. I don't really know what was what on that one anymore. Because I'm looking ahead to the next ones that hopefully we're going to get out in the morning and do one. So there's a lot of driving. It's something like 1,600 miles if you were to go the fastest route from cache to cache to cache.
Wow.
So it's not a small geo tour. If I remember, it's a 3-year time limit on this one.
From when you start to when you finish?
No, from the launch to when it shuts down.
Oh, it shuts down, actually. Okay.
Yes.
When did it launch?
It just launched a couple of months ago. Actually, I don't think it was even a couple of months ago. I think it was less than a month ago.
So the odds of me and Jesse coming up there and trying to complete it.
Well, you could definitely complete a region.
Yeah, I'm talking about the whole thing.
But if you tried to do the whole thing, there are a couple of people. It was 2 couples, I believe, that completed the whole thing in about 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Like every day?
1,400 miles. That's by the Fire Skippy's routine. That would be 3.5 days.
They must be tired because who the hell gets 2 weeks?
The first one we found was in Island Lake State Park, which was where we had my mom's birthday party the week before this. And just to get from the front gate to her pavilion that we were holding the event at took half an hour.
Really?
And that was less than 2 miles.
Wow. Are you bikes a lot on the trails?
Bikes were on the roads.
Okay.
And so were horses. And people who couldn't drive to begin with.
Daryl, that's pure Michigan right there.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Pure Michigan.
I was going to say, if bikes were allowed on the trail, that's when you need to invest in an electric bike.
Well, that one was completely bushwhack.
Ooh.
There was nothing on a trail at all.
And you didn't find a trail on the way back out.
Well, just the, what do they call them now? Social trails. We used to call them the deer trails.
Deer trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I've heard the term social trail is actually what they're using for park systems.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it offend everybody but deer? Is that what happened?
Well, because it's the social grouping. You have one person who does it and then the next person who does it. And then, the social pressure has created the trail.
You're deer trail shaming me, Daryl.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, in any case, this one was a walk to this point, which was the first stage. Mm-hmm. And in about this many yards and in about this direction, see if you can spot the deer Okay, now go and walk over there and find the deer. Well, it was a sign basically posted to a tree that gave you the cords.
Okay.
So it was pretty cool. I mean,
was it easy to spot?
I couldn't really spot it, but it was, a cardinal direction basically.
Somebody
So as soon as
a sign into the tree?
No, it was just wired to the tree.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's a state park cache. They're not going to let you do that.
I was curious, like, really?
Yeah. No.
It's how they got the sign on the tree.
But the bigger problem was when you got to the final and you're walking over there, there's this giant bug collector that's a big, huge black arrow hanging in from the tree, pointing straight down.
Mm-hmm.
And it says it should be obvious, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what's more obvious than this giant black arrow? So we're sitting there looking.
A giant red arrow would be
right. But we're sitting there looking at this thing going, this is pretty obvious, but it doesn't look right. Oh, wait, here's this tag that says bug collector do not touch. So, yeah, that's been probably the most memorable of all of them. But we had some other great caches. One of them that we did this weekend was really cool. It's actually the ruins of one of Henry Ford's vacation homes.
Oh, nice.
Which is now part of a state park.
Right.
So they had the cache like off to the side. We hit the cache in between the ruins of the home and the still standing carriage house. And then 2 more puzzle caches, neither of which were on the grounds. Those we had to go off property to get.
Right.
But 2 puzzle caches that took you around and showed you some of the history, including the toboggan hill. He actually had a winch system for the kids so that they could haul the toboggans up the hill.
Look at that.
And that's in ruins sitting there as well.
Good dad.
That was my favorite probably of those caches. But, I kind of like history stuff.
Pretty amazing what they take you to, isn't it? It's pretty.
It is. And there's a lot of great stuff in the park system that we don't know about.
Right.
One of the national parks that I really want to get to is actually a steam railroad museum.
Oh,
who would have thought that would be a national park?
No, never. No.
There's a bunch of them out there.
Yeah.
About this game, man. Even 11 years in, it's like still takes you to amazing. I do always just shake my head, when people take you to amazing places. When I get taken to something that's amazingly cool, I never would have seen.
Yeah. So I think I've only done 2 geo tours so far.
Right.
I actually completed enough to do to get anything out of it.
Right.
So I'm not going to complete this one. I don't expect
ever in 3
not
years.
Well, I hope to at least get one of the our zone completed for the path tag, but I don't think we're going to ever make all 100 caches. We're going to hit the 80 or whatever that we have to complete at best.
Okay. I've done a bunch of caches in various geo tours. I even have a cache that is in a geo tour, but I've never completed a geo tour.
The only geo tours I've completed were the ones at Geo Woodstock last year.
I think I've done one. We finished West Bend, but we have one more to finish the entire thing because you didn't have to finish the entire thing to get the coin.
Well, there's the 2 at West Bend, I believe.
Is there 2? I think we've done.
Because I started the first one, and then they started a second one shortly after.
For these kind of answers.
Yeah, that Earth Cache Geo Tour one. Yeah, I have completed a Geo Tour. It was just an Earth Cache specific Geo Tour.
Right. I completed the Earth Cache Geo Tour. I completed the Donut Trail Geo Tour.
Oh, the donut.
Yeah,
and I got the kids Geo Tour, which wasn't complete, but I at least got the coin for that one.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Cool.
All right, boys. It is past 9:30 here, so it's time to wrap it up. Next week, Daryl, thank you so much for coming on the show, by the way.
My pleasure. Always happy to be on.
Thank you, sir. Next week, Chad. So, Chad, guess what time it is next week?
Mega month time.
It's mega what?
Mega month time.
Oh, there's the official sound. Mega month. That was to wake everybody up. It's mega month, guys, starting next week, all the month of July. We're talking mega month. Next week, Chad, we have got possibly the greatest caching name. Daryl, what's one of the greatest caching names you've ever heard? Let me hear it.
Oh, Shaved Ewok. It's got to be
Ewok is the man
one of those top ones.
Show. Yes, the greatest caching name ever. Shaved Ewok is going to be on this show next week talking about Midwest Geobash. Hey, you know what? Guess what, guys? Jesse and I just made hotel reservations. We're going to Midwest Geobash. Who else is going to Midwest Geobash? Give us a call next week. Let's talk about it. Because we got Shaved Ewok. Daryl, you going next week?
I always go, but I always do it as a day trip.
Oh, we're going the whole weekend.
We keep talking about doing that, but it just never works.
We got hotel reservations and everything right by the campgrounds, right by the whatever they have it at. I don't know what it's called.
The fairgrounds.
The fairgrounds. I've never been there. I don't know. Jesse's been there like 3 times.
Yeah.
That's where
I think I've met her, or I've run into her there at least twice. Gone caching with her twice.
So we're gonna be there, I think, in a couple of weeks. I think it's when is it? When is this thing? It's like the end of July. I think.
I want to say it's the 27th.
I don't know.
Is the Saturday.
Don't tell me when it is. We got Shaved Ewok, one of the greatest caching names ever, on the show next week, talking about Midwest Geobash, because it is
listener feedback.
I pushed the wrong button. How about that? Let's try that again. Because it is mega month all month long. So that's what we're talking about next week. Midwest Geobash for mega month with Shaved Ewok. Daryl, thank you so much, sir. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. I miss Daryl. I miss picking on Daryl. I don't pick on Daryl anymore because
Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to pick on me when I'm not on the show.
I know. Actually, I do pick on you occasionally, but you're not here to appreciate.
Well, but it's not the public picking on that we usually got.
I call the Darylopedia. That's what I do.
And I don't get to set you up for all that stuff anymore.
I know. There's nothing best when you literally would throw me that just
the softball
to me, and I couldn't resist. Yes, but I know Daryl knows I love him. I adore Daryl. What do you got on your? This.
I got a shaved Ewok.
All right, there you go. See, shaved Ewok.
That's actually Shaved Ewok's profile picture.
Is it really? That's amazing.
Yeah. So I
yeah,
had to see what a shaved Ewok looked like.
He will be on the show next week. Daryl, you know I love you, buddy. Chad, I will talk to you next week, sir. Jesse will be back taking phone calls next week, guys. Give us a call about Midwest Geobash if you're going to be there. And with that, we will close the show. And for the button, I can't see the button. I don't have my glasses on. I can't see anything, guys. I apologize. Oh, here we go. It's just tough getting old, man. Please join us again next week as we take your calls live every Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, right here at geocachingpodcast.com/live. The archived video versions of our podcast are available on our website and on our YouTube channel, and the audio versions are available on most of your favorite podcatchers. If you like the show, please head on over to Apple iTunes and rate, review, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it, and it really helps the show when you do. If you prefer to watch the show, please subscribe to the show on YouTube, and don't forget to click the little bell after you subscribe to get notified when we go live. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for updates on upcoming shows and general geocaching information. And if you haven't already, please consider becoming a patron of our show. With tiers starting as low as $3, you will get a ton of additional information, extra audio, extra video, monthly stuff, only available to our patron members. Head over to patreon.com today and subscribe. That's patreon.com/the Geocaching Podcast. Thanks once again to our sponsors, Cachly, Logwork, FTF Geocacher Magazine, the Maxets Body Company, and Practical Geocaching. Please visit our sponsors, and when you make a purchase, you tell them that GCPC sends you. That's all we got this week, so we'll talk to you next week. Talking geocaching, taking your phone calls. In the meantime, have a safe 4th of July. Be good. Hug your loved ones, and we'll talk to you guys next week. We are clear. There you go.
Yay.
Hey, Daryl.
It is getting warm up here, though, guys.
Why is it getting warm up there?
Because it's 80-something or 90-something degrees outside, and the air has been working overtime to keep up with the lights and everything.
Oh, because you got the...
I got the full studio going.
See, here's the thing, Chad. Daryl lives in the 22nd century. He's like Buck Rogers in there. His whole house is wired to Alexa. And so Daryl, tell Alexa to turn on your lights. I bet she'll do it.
Well, Alexa won't turn on or off anything in the studio.
Oh, okay.
I intentionally have that offline.
She turns off like the AC in your studio and shit like that.
Well, no, there's the sensor over here that's just out of frame for the Ecobee to measure the temperature.
Oh my God.
But that's set off the calendar. So whenever there's a recording event on the calendar, it changes into show mode.
He's such I love his nerdness. It brings me such joy and love.
My wife will not allow Alexa in the house.
Alexa,
she's paranoid.
if I say it too loud, she's gonna ask me what I want because I got Alexa in the kitchen. But like, funny because every night I get into my room, I walk into my room and I say, Alexa, turn on the lights, and she turns on the lights. And Jesse and I do our things and we get into bed and do whatever, and then I go, Alexa, turn the lights off, and the bitch don't turn the lights off. Never, it never works. It doesn't do it. And so I'm like, God damn it. And Jesse's like, Alexa, lights off, and click, the lights go off.
See, for us, it's exactly the opposite. Renee is getting so frustrated because she never listens to her.
No, she doesn't listen. She'll turn them on. She just won't turn them off for me. You know, so it's really kind of irritating.
My biggest one is I should never have named a room foyer. It doesn't understand foyer.
Really?
It's the entry.
Well, I know what a foyer is, but
yes, but it doesn't understand the word. It has, unless you're standing like right in front of the mics.
Right.
It can't determine what that word is.
See, our problem is that like we've got 4 in the house because one Christmas we got one for each of the kids for their rooms, you know, like a little mini one, you know.
Yeah, the dots.
And so Shane's is computer, Cam's is Amazon. No, Cam's is not. No, Shane's is computer, Cam's is what was the other one? Echo. Was it Echo?
Yeah, Echo is another option.
Computer, Alexa, and Amazon. So we have Alexa in the kitchen. In our room is Amazon. Shane has got computer in his room and Toby's room, and then Echo is in Cam's room. So we have another Alexa in the kids' bathroom because the kids listen to music when they shower.
Yeah.
And we have Alexa in the kitchen. The problem is that Jesse and I usually Alexa. I'm gonna keep saying this. She's gonna do something in a minute. We say things and we're like, Alexa, set a timer for 20 minutes if we're cooking something, you know what I'm saying? Or Alexa, turn on, Pandora.
You need the Amazon basic clock.
Oh, God. Wait, so hold on. So let me finish talking. So the problem is that like it's the bathroom is right by the kids' bathroom, which is also named Alexa, is right by the hallway, right by the stairs. So Alexa, whatever the kitchen hears, the bathroom hears. So
well, as long as it's on the same account, it shouldn't matter. But if you're on different accounts,
problem is that like it's so 2 alarms go. So we'll turn this alarm off after 20 minutes, but the alarm will also be going off in the kids upstairs.
Right, but that's the problem is they're on different accounts, correct?
Yeah, they're probably on different accounts.
Yeah, if it's on the same account, it hears it and will shut down whichever one, or it shut down all but the one that it thinks has the best signal.
So I should actually change
They should all be on the same, right? So like I'll be in one room and I'll get like 3 that answer sometimes, but only all but one shuts down.
Daryl, wait, from the chat room, Daryl is a new level of nerd, but his still seems normal. He is. Daryl is the nerdiest person on the planet. I love him to death. When I went to his house and he's like, we're just sitting there chilling in the family room drinking beers or something, and Daryl's like, kitchen lights 30% down. I'm like, what the fuck? And the kitchen lights go 30% down. I'm like, you big ass nerd.
But you guys need to get that Amazon basic clock. It is awesome.
What is that?
Just watch for it to be on sale for like $15 because it's been like around that price. It ties to one of the Echoes. So when you set those timers, it actually counts down on the clock. So you can see the time left. And it does like 3 timers or something.
Oh God!
It is awesome.
What do you possibly? What? So you could see. So I don't have to go, Alexa, how much time is left? So
right. So you can see how much time's left on the cookies or whatever you're cooking.
I put that. Is that just the clock I just put in the kitchen?
Yeah, it just runs on a couple of AA batteries, and it sets itself off of.
Like, does it sit on the counter?
No, it's a hanging clock.
Oh.
But it is silent. I can't hear it at all, which I love. So I got one for the bathroom, which Renee loves because she uses it for like her hair dye and that kind of stuff. Okay. And we got one in the kitchen. I kind of want one in here because it's quiet and I could actually have a clock, like standard analog clock that doesn't make noise. Because you put one of those analog clocks in here that runs off the batteries, and the ticking shows up on mic.
Oh, does it? Yeah, probably. Yeah, if you got a good one.
Yeah. Well, even a cheap one. The cheap ones are the worst. But you get some of those like older AC ones that were intended to be silent.
Right.
And a lot of those will still show up on camera or on microphone.
Yeah. Well, we got an old spring wound one that, and a cuckoo clock as well, and both of them was like
clock.
It is like one was inherited, one was a wedding gift, and neither one are running because you hear those with your ears, and it is like that's even worse in my opinion.
So yeah, I really like that. I think it is called the Amazon Basic clock, but it's not the Echo clock.
Okay.
Because it's not an Echo; it's an accessory to the Echo.
Daryl, I have no doubt in about 15 minutes I'm getting an email from you with Amazon. It's going to have a link to that.
No.
So Amazon Basics FM dual alarm digital clock.
No. That's not it. I'm gonna iMessage you, dude.
I know. I will eventually get something from you.
Email sucks. I don't use email anymore.
That's for suckers, right?
It's the lowest common denominator. It's for all the green bubbles.
Oh, so you're all about the IMs now?
No, just messages.
There are several Amazon Basics digital alarm clocks on here.
Several.
Yeah, they're not. It's the Echo wall clock. They did change the name apparently.
Send me a link.
Go. I don't know why I'm looking for this, because my wife's not going to allow me to ever have an Echo, an Alexa in the house
room in your man cave.
And there's plenty of valid reasons to not have one. I used to keep one at the office, but when I moved, I left it at the old office. I didn't take it.
A message from Daryl right there.
Hey, you asked for it, you got it.
Message from Daryl.
Okay, so it actually looks like a traditional wall clock.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if I say Alexa, I have to say quietly. So if I say like Alexa, set a 5 minutes, I literally probably have 4 timers going right now because I kept saying timer. So like I was saying
5 minute timer. Yeah, it's gonna have
go off in about 5
on an LED ring on the outside.
Shut up. Really?
It's just a ring of.
Wait, but how does that thing connect to the internet if it's on a AA battery?
It's a Bluetooth connection to the Echo.
Of course it is. God, Jesus Christ.
Which is also how it sets its time.
So you don't have to set the time; it automatically.
No, it automatically changes the time. It does a whole, forward backward thing.
Oh, you're such a nerd.
Oh
my God.
And the worst part is, I thought this was cool. Told the wife about. She's like, "Oh, you got to get them."
How much does it cost?
$30 is a normal price. I've seen them on sale for like $15.
$30 is nothing.
Well, but being that Amazon Day is coming up the 15th and 16th, it's got to be one of those ones that goes on sale.
So that actually has physical arms that it's using on there.
Yes.
And then the LED are on the outside for your countdown.
Correct. So the time is always displayed by the arms. The countdowns are always on the outside. And when it hits under a minute, the 60 LEDs all light and it counts down. And it has at least 2 brightnesses. So it has, 3 states: off, full on, and a dim.
Nice. Okay. Meanwhile, I never stopped broadcasting from this. This is all
I noticed
right now.
As evidenced by the fact that we were getting chatter.
Oh yeah. What room is named voyeur? Curious minds want to know. No, the foyer, not the
voyeur.
I like that. FOYER.
Bedroom.
Voyeur rooms kind of have a totally different meaning, and I don't have that kind of streaming service. And if I did, I'd probably be, out of business by now.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Maybe I'll throw this up on the I'll throw this extra
Patron.
Yeah, because our audio listeners don't listen. They don't watch this. They're not getting any of this good stuff.
No, and I'm so far behind. I was just listening to the June Casher Coffee today.
The June Casher Coffee?
Yes, that's how far behind I am.
I don't even know what we've done since then. Shows go in and out so fast I don't even remember.
I know that feeling well.
Yeah, I can't even keep track. I just know what I'm doing. I'm looking ahead. I don't look behind. I got to keep going ahead. So I'm amazed. It's almost been a year, Chad, since we went back on. That amazes me.
Yeah, it feels like we just started back up.
I know. It's almost a year. Yeah. So it's good to be back, man. But it's busy. I got to keep going forward. So I know what it's like. I got to plan ahead. So Daryl, thank you so much, kid. Always a pleasure to see you.
Hey, always a pleasure to be on.
We got to get together again soon. We haven't gotten together in so long.
No, well, and I was planning on heading out to Chicago for a 3-day weekend thing, and Renee needs to do Vampire Empire.
Yeah,
it's a must.
Yeah, we talked about that so long
ago.
What happened to that?
So we were planning it for the weekend of the 12th
of August.
Of July, and it turns out I'm going to be in San Francisco Sunday through. So
I'm like, July 12th. You're not giving me much.
No, we had to cancel it because it was the only time that worked to go out to San Francisco.
We'll come
for work.
Come in September. I got nothing going on in September.
We may end up doing that, but September she's working again.
Oh.
She's back to school. So
you're looking for July. No, you can't come. Don't come the first week of August.
Yeah, we're going to do West Bend, though, so we'll see you there.
You coming to West Bend?
Yeah.
You both are?
I'm sorry?
You both are?
Yeah.
You coming for the day or you coming for the weekend?
No, we can't do a day trip. So I think we're driving out on Friday. So it's pretty much just going to be a Saturday kind of thing.
You're going to leave Saturday or you're going to leave Sunday?
We're going to leave on Sunday.
Oh, sweet. So
but it's like a 6.5, 7 hour drive, something like that.
Yeah, see, it's literally an hour and a half for me.
Yeah. Yeah, see, which is what it is for Midwest Geobash for us. So we always day trip that one.
To me, it's a 6-hour drive. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we'll be there, but it's not going to be as long as we had hoped. Right. But at least we'll be there Friday night and take off on Sunday morning.
Okay, we'll go caching on Saturday.
Yeah. And Renee wants to hit at least one power trail while we're up there.
Like one of the driving ones?
Yeah, because she's trying to get 2,000, not total, like another 800 caches before the 2020 events.
Okay, yeah.
And that's not very likely at the rate we've been going.
We usually do those on a Sunday. We usually do those Sunday.
I know. So maybe we can try to do. Last time I think we did it on a Saturday night.
Yes, we did one set. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So hopefully we can do something like that.
All right, sir. All right, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Sorry we chatted for an extra 15 minutes about nothing. Literally. But we will talk to you.
No, we talked about Alexa. And we're now setting off Alexas all over the world.
I'm throwing it on Patreon. Don't think I'm not. I'm going to burn this down from YouTube.
Yeah.
Cut it out and put it on Patreon because I guarantee you, people listening aren't going to hear all this, man. It could be a Patreon exclusive just for, I don't know. Patreon.
Exactly.
There you go. All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys next week. Mega month, guys. Midwest Geobash. Shaved Ewok. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you guys next week.